Copper Ridge, Nevada, 10:43 p.m., late autumn. Dust hissed over cracked asphalt, moonlight spilling through barbed wire fences. The neon of a half-dead diner flickered red against the chrome of 10 idling Harleys. A little girl with a baby on her hip stepped into the neon wash of Miller's diner. "Can you buy us, mister?" she asked. Every fork paused. Outside, 10 Harleys idled like thunder. Inside, the hellsangels at the corner booth slowly turned toward her mother. "Before we start this story, tell us, where in the world are you watching from? Also, please subscribe to the channel. It will help us to bring you more inspiring stories every day." Rain-hammered driftline, a salt-bitten Oregon town pinned between cliffs and a restless Pacific. Logan Silo Keene, road captain of the Rogue Coast Charter, sat with his brothers under the jukebox glow. Plates cooled, coffee went black. The bell over the door chimed, and the diner held its breath. A girl, maybe 5, bare knees bruised, jaw set. A baby blinked under a stretched knit cap. Behind them, a woman hovered, soaked, hair stuck to her cheek. "Can you buy us, mister?" the girl asked. Silo met the mother's eyes, hollow not from rain, but from running. Bo the prospect half rose. "We can call someone." The woman flinched. Silo raised a hand. "We'll start with dinner." He slid his plate to the girl and stood, jacket creaking, backpatch catching neon. "Ma'am," he said soft as tide, "you and the kids sit. Warm up first." Outside, Harleys idled like guard dogs. Inside, the room thawed, and a story none of them expected began. Steam lifted from bowls, fogging the windows until the street was only smear and light. The girl ate slowly, eyes on Silo as if measuring him. "I'm Lark," she said. "He's Noah." The mother's voice cracked around a thank you. "I'm Eden," Silo nodded. "Logan. Friends call me CeeLo." He kept his tone plain, no sudden moves, no bright lights. Across the booth, Mace, the grizzled sergeant, watched them like weather. "Where you headed?" he asked. Eden swallowed. "Anywhere the coast runs out." Away from Trent, the name hung like rust. Silo saw her hands jump when the door rattled and the ring-shaped bruise under her sleeve. He set a napkin beside Lark's elbow, a small ceremony. "Tonight you're not headed anywhere." The waitress, Nora, brought blankets from the back. The boys made space, elbows off the menace, boots tucked in. Mace murmured, "We don't do halfway." Silo felt the old vow anchor, the one he made the day his little sister vanished. The one still keeping his engine running. The diner door opened to the smell of wet diesel. A lifted pickup rolled past the windows twice, lights sweeping the booths. Eden's spoon froze. Lark found her hand without looking. Silo checked the clock, the rain, his brothers. No panic, just a quiet reshuffle of bodies. Mace paid for everyone in cash. Bo unplugged the jukebox. Nora killed half the lights so neon held the room like low tide. "Trent?" Silo asked. Eden nodded once. "He calls it debt. He calls us property. He'll sell what he can't scare." The pickup idled again. Silo's jaw set. "Not in this town." He lifted Lark's chin. "You trust me?" She studied the road captain patch, the scar at his eye, the sadness behind it, then nodded. Silo spoke into the dark like a plan. "We'll finish here. Then we ride. I'll bring you someplace safe." Eden breathed like someone surfacing. Outside, thunder wasn't sky. It was engines warming, brothers standing, and a promise about to move. They walked out under a smeared moon. The club looked at Eden the way men look at distance before a hard road. Serious, not hungry. Mace gave her his dry jacket. Bo snugged Noah's cap and tied a napkin under the baby's chin like a sailor's bib. CeeLo swung onto his night train and patted the seat. "Eden with me. Lark with Mace. Nora, lock up and call Jill at Harbor Post." Helmets found heads. Engines rolled into one long growl. The pickup eased from the curb, shadowing. Silo pulled them into rain, staggered formation, red taillights ribboning the bluff road. Driftline fell away, bait shops, shuttered motels, the pier like a broken comb. As they climbed, waves shattered below like glass. Eden clung with one hand and cradled Noah with the other. Silo felt her shaking and eased the throttle, steady as a heartbeat. He looked back once. She met his gaze in the mirror, fear and fight both present. He nodded. "Keep breathing. We've got you." They turned off the highway at a rusted sign. Harbour Post, Veterans Hall. The place doubled as the club's community shop on weekends. Free oil changes, hot lunches, a wall of lost and found photographs. Jill waited under the awning, key ready, porch light steady. Inside, space heaters clicked. 2 cots unfolded. A kettle began to sing like it remembered good news. Lark touched the photo wall and paused at a sun-faded picture of a teenage girl with a crooked grin. Silo looked away before the ache chased him. Headlights rolled across the windows. The pickup again, closer. Silo stepped outside with mace. Rain stitched the parking lot. A man leaned from the truck, smile shiny and wrong. "Evening, boys. I'm here for what's mine." Mace's voice was calm stone. "You're lost." The man flicked a card. A private security badge, almost legal. Silo felt something old turn over. He knew that face, not from Driftline, from a case file he'd memorized and burned. He said very soft, "Eden, lock the door." Silo walked straight into the rain. The man from the pickup, Trent, had that swagger only bullies wear when they think no one will touch them. "You're making this messy, brother," he said, voice slick with false calm. "That woman owes me." Silo's tone was iron underwater. "You don't own air, you don't own people, and you sure as hell don't own her." Trent smirked. She signed. "Debt transfer, notarized?" He held up a crumpled paper. Silo took it, eyes tracing the fake seal, the same format he'd seen years ago in trafficking reports he'd sworn to forget. Mace read his face. "Same ring." Silo nodded once. "Exactly the same." Behind him the rumble of bikes rose again, more brothers arriving from the docks. Trent's grin faltered. "You're outnumbered." Silo stepped closer until their boots touched water in the same ripple. "No, I'm out of patience." Trent's jaw tightened. He backed toward the truck. "This isn't over." Silo replied low. "You're right about that." The truck peeled out, tires spitting gravel and rain. Back inside, Eden rocked Noah near the heater, eyes distant, waiting for the next blow that never came. "He'll come back," she whispered. "He always does." Silo crouched beside her, voice steady. "Then we'll be ready." Mace handed over a towel and a cigarette neither of them lit. The clock hummed above them, marking time that felt borrowed. "How long you been running?" Silo asked. Eden stared at the floorboards. 3 states, 4 nights since he found us again. "He sold me once. Thought he could do it again." Her voice cracked. "He thinks I'm something to trade." Silence filled the room heavy as diesel fumes. Lark sat cross-legged on the cot, tracing the tattoo on Silo's wrist, the number 21, with wings. "What's this mean?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "It means I keep people safe." Her little head nodded, accepting it like gospel. Eden watched that exchange, and something in her shoulders softened, trust finding the smallest crack to grow through. Morning crept through cracked blinds, grey and salt-soaked, but brewed coffee strong enough to burn. Outside, fog rolled low over the coast road. Silo made calls. Sheriff Knox, an old Marine buddy, who now ran Ridge County jurisdiction. "Got a trafficker using fake debt contracts," Silo said. "Same signature as the 2015 cases," Knox whistled. "That rings back? I'll dig." Silo hung up, the static lingering like bad luck. Inside, Eden was folding blankets with precision. "You military?" Silo asked. "A nurse corps," she said quietly. "Until Trent," her words trailed off. "He found me volunteering at a VA clinic. Said he needed help managing his PTSD. I believed him. Then came the control, the debt, the papers. Silo stared at her, rage controlled, but alive. He used the system meant to heal us, she nodded. He collects broken people. Lark tugged at her jeans. Mama, are we safe here? Eden hesitated. Silo answered for her. As long as I've got gas in my tank, kid. Yeah. By noon, the fog cleared enough to show 3 black SUVs parked down the road. Trent had brought company. Private security outfit, Mace muttered. Probably armed. Silo exhaled through his nose. We don't start fights. We finish them. He sent Bo and 2 brothers around back with silent signals learned from convoy runs. He walked out slow, unarmed, except for presence. Trent stepped forward, flanked by men in body armor stamped Atlas Recovery Group. You hiding my property, biker? He said, tone sugary but sharp. Silo didn't blink. You really think you scare people who fought in Fallujah? Trent's smile cracked. You're out of your depth. Maybe, Silo said, but you're out of your soul. He turned his head slightly. Now! The roar of Harleys hit like a wave. The SUVs flinched as a dozen bikes blocked the exit, engines growling. Mace raised his phone, already streaming to every local veteran network and state patrol. Trent's men froze. Exposure kills faster than bullets. Silo stepped forward. You just lost your shadows. When the deputies arrived 10 minutes later, the scene was already set. SUVs boxed in, documents seized, Trent protesting while cameras rolled. Sheriff Knox stepped out, Hadlow grin higher. Well, I'll be damned. You boys still know how to throw a welcome party. Silo handed him the fake contracts. Jet ring using vet databases and medical charities. Knox flipped through. Federal want this, Trent snarled. They're liars. Knox's voice cut him. Finish that sentence, and I'll add slavery to your sheet. Eden held Lark tight as deputies cuffed Trent. Noah cooed softly, unaware that his first sunrise in safety was happening now. The bikers watched in silence, not triumph but relief, the kind that feels like exhaling after years of war. Silo turned to Eden. You got anyone left? She shook her head. Then you do now, he said simply. Outside, the club engines rumbled alive again. Not as weapons, but as witnesses that something finally good had happened on that broken stretch of coast. That night, the hall smelled of coffee, damp leather, and new beginnings. Eden sat wrapped in a borrowed hoodie, watching Lark color in a faded biker calendar. Noah slept beside her in a laundry basket lined with flannel. Outside, rain whispered steady as breathing. Silo cleaned his hands with a rag, the silence between them comfortable now. You don't have to keep us, she said softly. You already did enough. He shook his head. You're not something to keep. You're someone to protect until you can stand easy again. She smiled faintly, unsure how to carry kindness that didn't demand payment. Mace entered, dropping a brown envelope on the table. Knox confirmed it. Trent's ring goes deeper. Shell Company in Portland. They'll want her testimony. Eden paled. Court? Silo nodded. We'll be there with you. He caught her eyes. All of us. Outside, the Rogue Coast charter flag swayed in the wet wind, the skull and wing patch glowing faint under the porch bulb, like a promise that still meant something. By morning, the hall became a home. Lark helped Bo patch a tire, giggling every time the air hissed out. Eden made eggs on a skillet older than she was. Smells like before, she murmured. Silo caught it, though she hadn't meant to say it aloud. He'd learned to listen to what people tried to swallow. Later he showed Lark his Harley, black chrome, scarred tank, road map scratched by years. She's called Mercy, he said. Why? Because she gets me where I don't deserve to go. Lark grinned, tracing the skull emblem. Can I ride someday? When your feet touch the pegs, he winked. For a moment, she wasn't a runaway kid. She was just a child dreaming about engines and sky. Eden watched from the doorway, her hands still trembling slightly, but the tremor came now from something new. Hope. Outside, gulls rode the wind. Inside, laughter found walls that had forgotten how to hold it. 2 days later, Eden stood before the courthouse in Harbor City, the building grey as regret. Cameras lined the steps, local news drawn by rumor. Silo's crew formed a quiet wall behind her, leather jackets glistening under drizzle. Mace muttered, "Nothing scares suits like brothers in black." Eden adjusted her coat, clutching Noah tighter. Locke held Silo's hand. Inside, she told her story. The fake debt, the forged documents, the threats. Every word cost her a tremor, but she never stopped. Silo watched from the back, his jaw working as if chewing his own rage. When the judge asked if she feared retaliation, she simply said, "Not anymore." The courtroom hushed. Knox nodded from the bench. Outside, reporters swarmed, but Silo blocked the path. "Not today," he said. The bikers closed ranks, guiding her and the kids to the waiting bikes. The courthouse bells rang above them, clear as freedom. For the first time, Eden didn't flinch at the sound. Weeks passed. Driftline changed. The diner reopened, rebuilt after a kitchen fire. Nora renamed it The Haven. Pictures of fallen veterans lined the walls, along with one new frame. A group photo of the Rogue Coast brothers, Eden, Lark, and Noah, front and center. Eden worked the morning shift, serving truckers and tourists with a smile that didn't hide anymore. Lark colored menus for kids who came in. Silo still sat at his corner booth, same coffee, same quiet. But something in him had lightened. One evening, as sunset burned the horizon gold, Eden brought him pie. "Still watching the road?" she teased. "Always," he said, then paused. "But it looks different now." She tilted her head. "How so?" "Less like something I lost. More like something I get to protect." Their eyes met, the air between them soft as the hum of cooling engines. Outside, the tide pulled back, and for once nothing chased it. The night of the benefit ride arrived. Hundreds of bikes gathered on the coastal highway, chrome catching moonlight, jackets bearing patches from all over. The cause, Freedom House, a shelter Eden and the club had started for women running from debt traps and abuse. Locke sat on a custom trike with rainbow tassels, helmet too big but grin perfect. Eden, in worn denim, strapped Noah into a baby sling. Silo checked the convoy lineup. "You sure about speaking?" he asked. She nodded. "You gave me my voice back. Might as well use it." When she stepped up to the mic, the crowd quieted. "You saved me," she said, "but more than that, you believed me." The wind caught her hair, and for a heartbeat, Driftline's ghosts finally felt buried. Engines roared as the convoy began to roll, heading down the coast under starlight. Silo rode point, Eden just behind him. And for the first time in years, she wasn't running. She was leading. The next morning, sunlight poured across the coastline like forgiveness. Eden stood outside the haven, watching volunteers unload crates. Fresh sheets, canned food, a new coffee machine someone had donated anonymously. "Guess who?" Mace said, tossing her a folded note. It was from a local chapter in Portland for the woman who stood up in court. "Ride free!" Her throat tightened. Inside, Lark helped paint a mural. Angel wings stretched across the back wall, each feather marked with the initials of someone saved. Silo leaned in the doorway, arms crossed. "Looks good," he said. "You think so?" "Yeah, reminds people that rough doesn't mean heartless." She smiled at that. "You ever get tired of being everyone's hero?" He shook his head slowly. "Nah, just trying to balance the ledger." She looked at him, puzzled. "Ledger?" "All the bad I've done, all the good I owe." He shrugged. "Roads long." The ocean wind carried the sound of laughter from inside. It finally sounded like peace. That night, Driftline hosted a charity concert at the pier. Guitars, bonfires, the smell of salt and motor oil. Kids danced near the railings. Bikers traded stories under string lights. Eden wore her nurse's jacket again, the one she'd buried years ago. Silo joined her by the water, both silent for a while. "You ever think about leaving the club?" she asked. He sipped his coffee, eyes on the dark horizon. "Every winter," he said. "But then someone shows up needing a ride out of hell. Guess that's my calling." Eden looked down, waves brushing against the pilings. "You pulled me out," he smiled faintly. "You did most of the climbing." A gust blew Lark's laughter their way, and for a moment the ghosts between them faded. Behind them, Mace strummed a slow tune, a song Silo's sister had once written before disappearing. He didn't flinch this time. He let it play. Maybe saving Eden had been part of finding her too. Months later, a letter arrived. Federal seal. Trent had pled guilty. 27 victims freed across 4 states. Eden read it twice, hand shaking. "It's done," she whispered. Silo nodded, relief mingling with something quieter, closure. "He won't hurt anyone again." Eden folded the letter and placed it on the mantel beside a small photo. The night of the ride, Lark perched on Mercy, grinning. "You ever wonder why you stopped that night?" she asked. "At the diner." He looked up. "You could have kept driving." Silo thought for a long beat. Maybe I heard something familiar in her voice. "Larks?" He nodded. "Or maybe I just got tired of losing people I could have saved." Eden's eyes softened. "Then I'm glad you stopped." He exhaled, long and slow, eyes on the endless road outside. "Me too." In the distance, thunder rolled. Just weather this time, not danger. The next freedom ride drew twice as many bikes. Veterans, single mothers, even ex-officers rode side by side under banners that read, "No one rides alone." Eden spoke again, stronger now. Lark handed out patches shaped like angel wings, the club's symbol reimagined with a heart in the center. When the reporter asked Silo if he was proud, he said, "Pride's cheap. What we do is debt payment." But as he watched Eden lift Noah onto the podium and Lark wave at the cheering crowd, pride flickered anyway. Later, under the coastal stars, the brothers gathered around a barrel fire. Mace raised a beer. "To the night we said yes to the right fight." Silo clinked bottles with him, gaze distant. "To the ones who asked for mercy," he said. The flame caught his face, the scars, the steel, and the softness no one expected. He'd carried darkness long enough. Tonight it carried him lighter. Dawn came pale and calm over Driftline. The pier was empty except for Silo, Eden, and the hum of gulls. She leaned against Mercy's tank, tracing its chipped paint. "Where do you go next?" she asked. "Same road," he said. "Different reason." "You'll come back?" He smiled. "You'd better leave the light on." Lark came running with a drawing, 3 bikes, a diner, and a woman with angel wings. "That's us!" she said proudly. Eden laughed, and for once it didn't sound fragile. Silo strapped on his helmet, revved the engine, then paused. "You bought your freedom," he said, "but you gave us something bigger." "What's that?" "Proof." He pulled down the visor and rolled off down the coastal road, the morning sun catching the chrome like a prayer answered. Eden stood watching until he vanished into light, her voice barely a whisper. "Ride safe, mister. If this story touched your heart, if you felt the roar of the road, the power of mercy, and the courage it takes to start again, then stay with us, like. Subscribe and ring that bell. There are more roads ahead, more hearts to heal, and more stories to ride."